The following video will contain me, a person who's qualified and trained and has worked professionally as a data recovery person, and also setting up email accounts, email servers, and setting up stuff for federal government installations. That's a fancy way of saying I worked for the mayor's office at one time. And yeah, they had to do something that involved Fed. So they had to have somebody follow a bunch of rules, and I'm very much aware of them. Arguing with me does not work because you're wrong. There is a finality to certain things in the world. You know, the sun comes up and down, the tides go in, tides go out, and we do know how that works, all right? I don't care what you know, just don't. So let's move on. 2016, and it's hard to keep track of it, how many times the Republicans or Democrats were investigating one person or another, when they were really just harassing them and making people look bad. There is no requirement that House, Senate, etc. has to actually be truthful when they do something, like investigating or fucking with somebody who is a politician. Politicians do this all the time. No, only one side does it. Shut the fuck up. So anyway, Hillary Clinton had just been through one investigation. And, of course, nobody is just going to bring up exactly the same investigation again. Anyway, by August of 2016, a private email server was now being talked about. Disclosure. No, she shouldn't have set up a private email server. Yes, she was advised by some people not to do so. And she had a position of power where she could ignore them, which should not have been able to happen. And yes, I would have told her, if you set up an email server, I will scream as loud as possible until you're embarrassed into not doing it, because this is a dumb thing to do. You don't need to do it. Don't. Yeah, but no, don't. No, I don't care that you're Hillary Clinton. I'm your computer hacker. I'm the person you paid to tell you you're being a dumb asshole. Shut up and listen. I literally make people sign a contract that I'm allowed to call them any name in public, and that I will publicly embarrass them for being intentionally stupid about a technical issue like computer security. Don't hire me if you don't want me to humiliate you. Stupid idiot. Anyway, Trey Gowdy claimed, and this is accurate, I'm doing the accurate version, that a hard drive was erased using free software, not something expensive, named Bleach Bit. It's named after not an acid, but a base. This is a minor chemical thing, but the point is, it wasn't an acid. No, it's not common understanding that acids and bleaches and bases are the same thing. That's not really true. Let's move on. Days later in Ohio, Trump said the following statement. I'm rewording these because I'm not including all the, okay, for either of these idiots. Politicians misspeak all the time. Democrats and Republicans. I don't hold that against them. Important emails will no longer be deleted, or no longer will be allowed to be deleted, in an expensive process. It was not expensive. Digitally bleaching drives. Now, in case you weren't aware of this, it's a federal requirement that you actually erase drives sometimes. You're compelled to do it. Important email records will no longer be deleted. No, they shouldn't be, because they weren't. A backup copy is supposed to be given to the government of the entire fucking drive. Now, at the time, that wasn't a requirement. They were using old-style methods with paper items. Now, see also, I'm going to interrupt this. Donald Trump has overtly been caught and is actually guilty of destroying information that was required to be duplicated and saved. He is obsessive about burning, shredding, and destroying things. I don't know about him stuffing toilets. That's not relevant. The point is, he's obsessive about refusing to allow stuff to be backed up because he writes scribbled notes and he doesn't want to save. Just like you and I might be. And he's also a person who was caught walking out of a building with things that had not been declared declassified. Arguments aside, he had not declassified them yet. Him saying he did retroactively doesn't change the fact that he walked out with classified physical documents, something that is overtly Plain black letter law, illegal. Hillary Clinton was involved with an email server that, again, I would have sat there and stomped the fucking thing to pieces in front of her, laughing maniacally, and get arrested for it, so that it would become kind of a problem for her to do it again. But it wasn't against the damn law. She didn't actually break any rules because they hadn't fucking written them yet. She's the reason most of the laws exist, or you're maybe quoting inaccurately. And again, emphasis added, both these knuckleheads should have been not allowed to touch things. Let's move on. But anyway, he claimed it was an expensive process and it was digitally bleached. He said digitally bleached, which is absolutely accurate. That was the last time he said anything accurate about it. Trump is absolutely mind-fuckingly notorious for taking any fact he can find. Should I quote it? The devil may tell you 1,000 truths, but he must lie at least once. I think Trump's the opposite. He has to lie constantly, but he's allowed to tell the truth once in a while. That was the last time he talked about the subject and said something remotely accurate. In a digital sense, you could say the drives were bleached because they didn't actually finish cleaning them. Let's move on. September 4th, on Twitter, he said, why did she acid wash emails? Now, if you're not aware of what acid washing mail would be, it would remove the printing. This is where he's getting the idea from. This is an old school method of how to get rid of information. If you're not aware of it, Donald Trump, New York City, mob boss-like behavior, buying and selling property. He's a real estate tycoon. And he knows about flash paper. Ask him about it. He probably knows exactly what. He probably can even tell you the formula for it. It's paper that will immediately destroy if you touch it with a match. But acid washing paper is, well, it's part of the process for turning $1 bills into $20 bills. But let's move on. Or at least that's the way it was in popular culture. It doesn't really work. Don't quote me on that. Don't you dare do it. By September 7th, he said she used all sorts of acid testing. Acid testing is a method by which you determine something's really gold or not, among other things. That's something Trump would actually have some familiarity with. But that's not the wording that was used. He's gone from saying Bleach Bit to acid washing to acid testing. They call it Bleach Bit, but it's essentially acid that will destroy everything within 10 miles, which doesn't make any sense in any form of reality, and is just being Donald Trump saying something blown out of proportion for effect so you'll remember it. And then he'll immediately say he never said it. Because saying this doesn't make any sense. It's completely ignorant. However, at the time, if you're not aware of it in the news, which may be, okay, I don't want to give Donald Trump an out. There was a virus that would attack a network that would be the size of, quote, a city like Los Angeles, approximately a 10-mile across network. I'm not giving him a bone here, but he might have been referring to that. Hillary Clinton's staff digitally bleached, which is acid cleaned, her emails. September 8th is another statement. Again, digitally bleached, but then said acid cleaned. 33,000 emails deleted, bleached, acid washed. Again, not accurate at this point. And by the way, 33,000 emails, that's on the low side. And again, failed to do so. She should be thrown in jail for failing to do a good job erasing it, because that's actually a federal law right there. But anyway, let's move on. Glenn Beck said that Clinton acid-washed hard drives. Fox News claimed that Clinton's team poured acid over the emails. You could say this is metaphorical, but they're really playing up the idea of some sort of liquid or some sort of chemical agent. They didn't clarify any of it, and they didn't correct anybody when they said that she was literally pouring battery acid into a hard drive. Pro tip, I want to bet by preventing someone from being ever able to say that shooting a hard drive with a gun would actually erase it. I recovered the data from a hard drive that had a bullet hole through it. Why? Because I can. Because anybody can. It's not that goddamn difficult. Just make sure the bullet travels beyond the speed of sound, and it will actually punch a clean hole through the bladders. They're aluminum. Use a 12 gauge. Let's move on. Next. The FBI investigation, not the politicians, but the FBI investigation, and subsequent investigations, even by politicians, have determined nothing was on Hillary Clinton's server that was clearly marked classified. Because they decided that since a bunch of the politicians couldn't identify the same thing, when they showed them, they did a real simple test. Do any of you have any classified information in your email? No. Then they checked it and found things with the parentheses C looking like a copyright statement. That actually meant classified. Yeah, using something would easily be missed. And they found a shit ton of them were guilty of the same thing and would be guilty of the same thing. So if you're gonna boil her like a frog, you better jump in the fire first. Supporters refuse to consider in any critical way an untrue thing that makes no sense in reality, all in an effort to inflate to apocalyptic proportions a minor detail, whether it was bleach or acid. A statement that was made up, effectively, by an ignorant man who is also relentlessly anti-truth and overt about it. Trump is notorious for this. Imagine this. You spend your entire life being a business tycoon who's told that the truth is not relevant. What's relevant is the end goal, your outcome. What are you able to get away with? That's not me quoting The Art of the Deal, which a lot of you might have a copy but don't read. I dare you to go look for it. By the way, there aren't very many digital copies of it, so good luck. It doesn't matter if he tells the truth or not. You've got to close the deal. Facts are not relevant. Once the deal is closed, the only facts that are important are the end contract. Everything up to the final signature is irrelevant. No, that doesn't sound like The Art of the Deal, which was ghostwritten by somebody else, by the way, partially. Or at least completely. I say completely, but I think it was partially. Okay, let's get this done again. 1. Hillary Clinton was told by the government that she should and could, but should erase the drives. But as soon as she... No, they told her to erase it. From that point forward, whether the House Republicans or whatever, or anybody likes this, including me, erasing it at any time past that point was legal because she's carrying out a direct fucking order. Well, she asked for permission to erase. She asked them whether or not she could erase it then. If you're going to put her under investigation, she can't erase anything, and she shouldn't even load anything on an email server or on her own laptop or on her PDA or anything. But after a point, she's under legal compulsion. She has to erase data, because the government says you have to erase sensitive data. Not super secret or top secret, but you're required to erase those two. Next, I asked at the beginning of the video, do you know how email works? It takes two to email. One to send an email and one to receive. A large portion, unless you're an idiot, a large portion of the emails on her email server were shit other people sent her. Some of the emails that were questionable were other people making the mistake of sending top secret information by accident. Again, some of the politicians who don't want to be mentioned. I made a video mentioning them. It was deleted. I wonder why. Must be fake news. No, I humiliated about 50 other politicians who do not like the idea that they could be questioned on this. Glass houses and senates. So, the other thing is that means that any other server her email server touched has some of the cooties. The way the government recovered all the emails that were deleted successfully was to just find out where she sent and received emails from and then go get it from them. They instantly became evidence, and 99% of the stuff was got back. In the end, out of 33,000 emails is the claim, 3 emails were written as being classified. They were not clearly marked. They had a parentheses, C parentheses. That is not a proper marking. It never has been. It's even in the style guide. You can't do that. You have to clearly mark all data. Next, most of the stuff, if not all of it, people don't want to talk about. It came from some other politician talking to her. And the only thing she had to do besides erasing it on command is make sure a backup copy was given to the government. And she did that by paper because they said we want it in paper form. Instead of saying just copy the hard drive, which is what they're required to do now, they told her to print it out and then filter it. Now they don't allow it. And it's called the Hillary Clinton rule. The rules that you now talk about, quote, are actually caused by her. Because that was the standard at the time, because they were thinking paper and mimeographs and photocopies, not emails. And again, people like me screamed at the top of their lungs in her ear, don't frickin' do this. Mirror the drive. Give the federal government the entire drive. Don't print anything. Yeah, but there is no yeah, but give them the damn drive. In fact, turn off your server and hand them the server. That's what she should have done. She was advised to do it. Everybody here is an idiot, including me and you. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.